All right, opening tap. Grabbed by Akuche, and the Penguins control it first here tonight. Dwayne Cohill will come into the forecourt. Working against Pipkins, gives to Hunter. Finds Rattan Mays far sideline, back out to Cohill. Near side left wing. Pipkins is still on him. Ball comes out front to Akuche, dribbling right wing. Keeps the dribble alive along the three-point line. 12 to shoot. Akuche right of the lane, 15-foot pull-up, left short. Rebound control by Damian Chong-Kui of the Mastodons. Chong-Kui down the left of the lane on Rattan Mays, throws up the runner, can't bank it in. There's Akuche with yet another rebound. Came in averaging 7.5 a game for the Penguins. Miles Hunter with it in the forecourt now for YSU. Got it to Rattan Mays, who swings it from Akuche to Cohill. Back to Akuche, left of the lane. Hunter cutting to the basket, nice feed, reverse layup good by YSU's Miles Hunter, who's shooting 52.5% from the field at home, only 31% against the league on the road this season.
Nice job by Miles Hunter, moving without the basketball, cutting into the lane for the deuce.
Pipkins from the near corner misses the three badly. Rebound to Ollison of Youngstown State. Rattan Mays throws ahead to Hunter, goes right baseline. Pull up 8-footer, hit the rim, comes up short. And the ball controlled by Rob Petty of PFW. They'll hand it to Jared Godfrey, who will come into the forecourt. Godfrey down the left of the lane on Cohill. Passed into the corner to Pipkins. He'll now fire it out to Planutis. Ball handed right back to Godfrey. Heads to the foul line, but finds Chong-Kui near sideline. Another three up. That one's no good. There's Rob Petty for the putback, however. He's shooting a team-high 69% from the field. Easy to see why. The transfer out of Vermont, when he gets good close looks like that. Averaging 10 points, 6.5 rebounds for Fort Wayne as he ties the game.
Now, Penguins got to do a better job of boxing out.
Rattan Mays misses his three attempt from the near corner. Ball then knocked out of play by Jared Godfrey of the Mastodons. 18-11 to go in the opening half. Youngstown State, Shamar Rattan Mays, 5'11" sophomore out of Toronto, will put the ball in play from the left baseline. Hunter comes open, makes the catch far side of the floor. Planutis on him, ball lob top side to Cohill. Bounce now to Akuche, right around the foul line. Ball thrown out front to Cohill. Around the Akuche screen, top lane, fires to Rattan Mays. Going baseline, turns and clears the ball. Akuche, right wing, open three, bang, bang. Michael Akuche with his 10th three of the season. He has struggled from outside the three-point line. Last year in the two games against Purdue Fort Wayne, he was 3 of 7 from long range. YSU comes in shooting 33% from beyond the arc as the runner down the baselines off the mark for Purdue Fort Wayne, and the Penguins grab the miss, leading 5-2. Rattan Mays into the forecourt with it for Youngstown State. Cohill now scoops to Hunter near sideline. Bounces top side to Akuche with 15 to shoot. Ball thrown to Hunter near side, gets around Planutis, throws it back out to Akuche. Again, open left wing, fakes the three, drives to the basket, whips the ball across the floor to Cohill, far sideline. And before he can get off a shot, Billups, a 6'4" junior out of Moline, Illinois. Benford, 6'8" graduate student from Seattle, Washington. Coming up on 17 minutes left to play in the first half. Chong-Kui out front, gives the ball to Pipkins near sideline, picked up by Ollison. Ball thrown topside to Chong-Kui. Looking for Godfrey, but the pass instead delivered to Billups. Top of the lane on Miles Hunter now. Billups down the right of the lane, drives, turning, can't get off a shot, delivers it to Chong-Kui, goes to the left of the lane, to the baseline, finds Benford open, drops inside, turns, hooks it up and in. Cameron Benford had only scored 2 points in the 4 Horizon League games played this year by the Mastodons. That's his first field goal attempt in Horizon League play. In fact, his last field goal attempt came on November 26th. He hadn't attempted a single shot in his last 8 games, but he gets one there to go, and his team is down 1. Rattan Mays now with it for Youngstown State. Goes around Akuche to the right of the lane, stops at the foul line. 15-footer is bouncing around the rim and comes off to Deontay Billups of PFW. Godfrey takes the ball and comes into the forecourt, heads down the right of the lane, and he's fouled by Tevin Ollison. So Ollison will have his first infraction for the Penguins, their first as a team. Foul stops play with 16-12 to go in the opening half. Youngstown State leads 5-4. With that, Jalen Pipkins will sit down for Purdue Fort Wayne. His spot filled by JoJo Peterson.
No question that foul was a good one. Ollison was off balance as he was trying to get the ball handler.
Godfrey, after making the inbounds pass, gets it back and now scoops the ball to Peterson, working near side of the floor, dribbles to the foul line, Passes to Chong Kui, who finds Godfrey far sideline. Elevates for three and missed it. Rebound to Rattan Mays of Youngstown State. They brought Daniel Ogoro in during that last dead ball to replace Miles Hunter as Tevin Allison looks to
The Mastodons, they're doing a really nice job getting a second defender in to double at the elbow.
Ogoro inbounds for Youngstown State to Michael Akuche, who clears it out front to Shamar Rattan Mays. Guarded by Damian Chong Kui. Good matchup here tonight. Rattan Mays out front, now middle of the floor with 15 to shoot. Akuche sets the screen. Rattan Mays looking to get rid of the ball and does to Cohill. Far sideline, goes right baseline to the right of the lane, makes the pass to Allison near corner, fakes the three, 5 to shoot. Godfrey on him. Allison steps back near sideline three. Can't get it to go off the back of the rim, and the rebound controlled by JoJo Peterson of the Mastodons. Clears to Deontay Billups, working in the forecourt. Makes the pass to Peterson, left baseline, shut off by Allison. Comes out to the wing and gives the ball to Chong Kui. He now throws to Billups, heads into the lane, bounce pass to Benford. Throw it out front to Peterson. Fumble the pass. It's picked up at midcourt, though, by Jared Godfrey. 10 to shoot now for Purdue Fort Wayne. Godfrey from the foul line. 15-footers off the mark, and the ball snatched away by Akuche of Youngstown State. Clears to Rattan Mays, pushes it ahead to Cohill. Working far sideline, gets through traffic, into the lane, floater up, floater in. Dwayne Cohill comes in averaging 9.5 points, 4 rebounds a game for Youngstown State. Struggled from the field in his last 2 games, going just 6 of 25 from the floor. Penguins drop back defensively as the three is let loose by Deontay Billups, and you can't get that to go. Penguins grab the miss, and they come into the forecourt with it now. Rattan Mays around the Akuche screen. Ball thrown to Cohill to the left of the lane on the run. Had his pocket picked by JoJo Peterson. He'll race it to the other end of the floor. At the foul line, knocks Rattan Mays to the ground, and they're going to call him for the foul. Shamar Rattan Mays whistled for the first time tonight. Penguins' second foul as a team. Stops play with 14:24 to go in the opening half.
It's a good call by the officials. Rattan Mays was a little late setting his feet, and I think he was kind of side saddle, which is the reason why they ultimately gave him the foul.
Billups, Chong Kui, and Benford going to the bench for Purdue Fort Wayne. Petty returns along with Planutis. And Pipkins comes back in as well. All right, Godfrey from the right baseline, inbounds to Petty. Right of the lane, Jameer Thomas comes in for the Penguins, guards him. Ball thrown out of Pipkins, gets it out front to Peterson. 20 to shoot. Peterson to the right of the lane on Luke Chacon, who comes in for his first tour of duty. Peterson trying to get off a shot, cannot do so. Gives to Rob Peterson, or Petty. Rob Petty now setting the screen for Jared Godfrey. Runs to the foul line, makes the pass to Pipkins, pushed up the three, pushed it in. After missing their first 3 from beyond the arc, Purdue Fort Wayne gets its first 3 courtesy of Jalen Pipkins, who was just 1 of 8 from the field Wednesday in the loss at Cleveland State, having missed all 5 of his 3-point attempts in that game as well. YSU looking to counter now. Cohill's 3, too strong from the near sideline. Rebound knocked right back to him in the near corner. Throws it out front now to Ogoro, runs into the lane, makes the pass to Chris Shelton, who's come in. Delivers it topside to Chacon, finds Cohill. Bounce down low to Thomas, whips it out front, Ogoro right wing. Can't get off a shot against Planutis yet. On the run, scooped it up, scooped it in. Daniel Ogoro, 6'5" redshirt sophomore out of London, England, averaging 4 points and 1.5 rebounds a game, gets his first 2 as he breaks the stalemate. With that, the run into the lane by Peterson leads to his first field goal. Throws in the runner to tie the game again, this time at 9.
Yeah, JoJo Peterson had a really nice mismatch. 5'10" Luke Chacon on him.
Jameer Thomas out front with the ball for Youngstown State. 1 dribble pass to Chris Shelton, top of the lane. Finds Chacon, who throws to Cohill, far sideline. Whips it across for Ogoro, finds Shelton open. Left wing, 4-3. That's no good off the back of the rim. Long rebound comes out to Jared Godfrey of Purdue Fort Wayne. Good look for Shelton, who's done well from beyond the arc lately. Couldn't get that one to fall. Mastodons looking for the lead here. JoJo Peterson drives and throws it out to Godfrey. Gives to Planutis, right wing 3 for him is left short, nearly an air ball. Skims the net as Cohill runs underneath the basket to grab the miss. Comes into the forecourt with it for YSU, makes the pass now to Ogoro, who took it away from his own teammate Chacon. Ball comes out front, Cohill, guarded by Pipkins. Around the Thomas screen to the foul line, into the lane. Off balance shot goes up on the rim, fell off. Rebound to Rob Petty of Purdue Fort Wayne. Outlet pass goes to Jared Godfrey against Chacon. Runs into a triple coverage, throws up a bad shot, wanted a foul, didn't get it. The miss grabbed by Jameer Thomas of YSU. Chacon now in the forecourt, whips the ball to Cohill. Hands to Ogoro, far sideline. Back out front to Chacon with under 12 minutes to play in the first half. We are tied at 9. Chacon near side of the floor gives to Agoro, far side right wing. Slot side of the three-point line, drives on Peterson to the right of the lane, who tried to reach inside, does, and steals the ball away for the Mastodons. Comes into the forecourt, bounce ahead to Planutis to the basket, laid it in. Bobby Planutis, the 6'8 redshirt senior from Hazleton, Pennsylvania, averaging 8 points, 3 rebounds a game, has given Fort Wayne its first lead of the night.
For a team that doesn't play very good defense statistically, Mastodon's playing some really good defense early on here.
Chacon trying to weave his way through traffic. Gets the ball to Daniel Agoro. Bounces it now to Thomas shy of the foul line. Finds a wide open cutter, Dwayne Cohill, who turns and scores after receiving the pass. Good feed from Jameer Thomas. Cohill now with 4 points, and YSU catches Purdue Fort Wayne at 11.
Outstanding by both players.
Pipkins drives on Agoro to the right of the lane. Turning, makes the pass, not a Petty. He works to the lane against Thomas. Turns to the baseline, hooked it up, hooked it over the basket. Ball grabbed by Shelton of Youngstown State. Clears to the Penguins, Luke Chacon, who throws ahead to Shelton, right wing. Drives by Planutis, makes the pass in the lane, but it's taken away by Godfrey of PFW. 2-on-1 break, Godfrey going to take it himself to the basket, throw it over the hoop, but there's the follow by JoJo. So both teams come back out on the floor. Miles Hunter returns for Youngstown State. He'll give to Shamar Rattan-Mays as Damian Chonquis come back in now for the Mastodons. Rattan-Mays out front now, picked up by Pipkins. Hunter on Chonquis. All right, Purdue Fort Wayne sitting in a zone here. Going to force the Penguins to try and shoot over it as Ollison's floater goes up from the baseline and comes off the rim to Jonathan Desjardins, who comes in for his first tour of duty.
And the 1-3-1 zone put on by the Mastodons.
Planutis left wing three is perfect. Bobby Planutis has now made a three in 10 straight games, shooting nearly 39% from out there. Purdue Fort Wayne is a team shooting almost 35% from beyond the arc as they have now grabbed a 16-11 advantage, largest team lead taken by either team. We've passed the midway point of the opening half. Youngstown State trailing 16-11 with the ball. Ollison looking to drive on Chonquis, can't do so. Ball handed to Rattan-Mays. Chonquis jumps on him with 5 to shoot now. Rattan-Mays left wing, long three. That's going to be off the mark. The air ball pushed up by Akuche. Felt he got pushed. Couldn't get the shot to go, and the shot clock expires. But Purdue Fort Wayne had controlled the ball by the time the horn had sounded.
Yeah, it's a physical game. The officials are letting the players play right now.
Deontay Billups comes back in, makes the handoff to Chonquis, spins on Ollison to the left of the lane, tried to bank one in, could not do so. Rebound to Akuche, clears it to Ollison of YSU, runs to the basket, into the lane against Pipkins, can't get the runner to fall. Hunter missed once, but he's there to follow up his own miss and scores. Miles Hunter now checks in with 4 points. Came in averaging 5 a game to go with 3 rebounds. Left wing, Billups fakes the three. Gets rid of the ball now to Damian Chonquis. Goes top side to Jalen Pipkins. Back to Chonquis in the lane. Deals the ball to Billups. Heads to the foul line on Agoro. Throws up a floater. Left it short. Got his own miss. Clears it out front to Chonquis. Finds Pipkins. Pipkins on Ollison. Down the left of the lane. Stumbles to the ground. Threw the ball away. Errant pass will go out of play and be handed over to Youngstown State. For the Penguins, Dwayne Cohill reinserted into the lineup. Checking in as well for the first time tonight, Owen Long, a 6'1 junior from Sikeston, Missouri. With that, Rob Petty comes back in for Purdue Fort Wayne. And Jared Godfrey, who had gotten a brief rest. Billups goes to the bench. So does Pipkins. 8.5 to play before the break. Cohill into the forecourt with it for Youngstown State. Cohill center circle, picked up by JoJo Peterson. Goes around the long screen, gives him the ball now. Owen Long left wing. In the corner, gives to Ollison. Throws it out front now, back to Long. Penguins with 10 to shoot. Owen Long near sideline. 8 to shoot by Akuche. Long scoops the ball to Miles Hunter with 5 to shoot. Right of the lane, clears to Cohill. Out front, Long three for him. No good across the rim. Rebound on the floor, saved by Jared Godfrey. Clears it head to the Mastodons, JoJo Peterson. He in turn finds Planutis, who got it right back to Godfrey, who buries the three from the near side. And 7:57 to go in the opening half from Beagley. Purdue Fort Wayne right now in the midst of a 12-4 run. It has given the Mastodons a 19-13 lead over Youngstown State as the Penguins get the ball off the timeout. Miles Hunter out front gives to Owen Long, who now finds Michael Akuche right wing on the three-point line, hands off to Ollison. Can't get off a shot just yet by Akuche. Inside the three-point line, Ollison shoots, can't get it to go off the back of the rim. Rebound, batted out of play. Owen Long is the guy who knocked it out of bounds.
Rob, I'm really impressed with the Mastodons defense tonight. They've given up 13 points in 12 minutes and 22 seconds of basketball, and they're doing it by disguising and mixing up their defenses. They've gone from a 1-3-1 to man-to-man to help man. Well, there's a big difference between man-to-man and help man. It's been a really good defensive game plan by the Mastodons.
And they've gone deep into the bench. Jarvis Walker inserted into the game, 6'2" sophomore from Muskegon, Michigan. Right now, Damian Chong-Kui out front down the left of the lane on Cohill. Gives the ball to Jarvis Walker, who traveled with it. Walker, who has basketball in his blood. His parents both played at Ferris State. His sisters played collegiate basketball at Western Michigan before one transferred to Tennessee, and the other ended up going to Valparaiso to close out their career. So he's got the bloodlines, but a turnover there gives it to Youngstown State. Tevin Ollison in the forecourt with it for the Penguins. Feeds to Miles Hunter near corner. Got it out to Akuche inside the three-point line left wing. Guarded by Rob Petty. Ball comes out front to Cohill. To the foul line. Stops. 16-footer for him is good. So Dwayne Cohill with 6 points for Youngstown State. Had 7 in the win Wednesday at Robert Morris. His best game against the league was against Green Bay when he scored 15 in the Penguins win. Mastodons looking to counter now. Jared Godfrey, who's just 1 of 6 from the field thus far. It's a 3 that he made. Will go around the Petty screen to the right of the lane. Throw it out to Chong-Kui left wing against Cohill. Steps inside the three-point line. The 5'8" guard pushes it up, but couldn't get it to go. Rims out to Owen Long of Youngstown State. Fires ahead to Tevin Ollison. To the left of the lane. Ollison shut off by Godfrey. Makes the pass to Akuche, and Ollison got it back. Left baseline now. To the left of the lane. In traffic. Muscle run up and in. Tevin Ollison, 6'4" senior out of Memphis, averaging 12 points, 4.5 rebounds a game with his first 2, and the Penguins have closed the gap to 2. Chong-Kui now scoops the ball to Godfrey, runs around the perimeter to the foul line, got the ball to Walker in the lane, bounce pass to Rob Petty, who goes up and drops in 2.
Outstanding pass by Walker. He finds Petty. Once the defense committed to Walker, bounce pass to the wide open Petty in the low block, and that's an easy hoop.
Cohill going to the basket down the left of the lane, draws contact, fouled as he threw the ball over the basket. So Jarvis Walker with the foul, his first. Both teams with only 2 fouls as a team with just under 6 minutes to go in the opening half. Dwayne Cohill sent to the line for Youngstown State. Cohill, an 84% free throw shooter for the season on a team which is shooting 75% from the line as Cohill makes his first one. He's now hit 9 straight free throws for the Penguins. In the meantime, Bobby Planutis comes back in now for the Mastodons, replacing Deontay Billups.
I got to quickly knock on wood every time you say stuff like that, Rob.
Cohill trying to hit them both from the line. Again, line to the left. That one, right through. He's now 11 of 11 against the league from a stripe this year. And YSU back to within a basket at 21-19. Pressure off the inbounds pass leads to a quick whistle here. And a foul against Miles Hunter for a hold. So Hunter with his first foul call. Penguins' 3rd foul as a team. 5:53 to go in the first half. Jared Godfrey to inbound from the left baseline. All right, the officials still trying to confirm this. Yeah, they're going to let Godfrey run the baseline, I think. Before they told me he had to stay put. For what it's worth, he gets it right in to Jalen Pipkins. Right back to Godfrey. Penguins trying to trap him. Ball to Pipkins coming up the floor against Hunter. Still in the backcourt. Ball given to Godfrey. Throws it ahead. Now to Walker, who saves it near sideline. To Godfrey. He flags it down near the center circle. Jared Godfrey down the right of the lane. Got by Ollison on the run. Shot blocked out of play. It hit Godfrey and went out of bounds. Penguins with a chance to tie here. Maybe take the lead back with 5.5 to go before the break. And before they can get it in play, Damian Chong-Kui will come back in for the Mastodons. Jarvis Walker will be sent to the bench. All right, Cohill works up the floor at midcourt, met by Pipkins. Gives to Miles Hunter. Scoops it now to Ollison, trying to turn the corner at the foul line. Through traffic, fumble the ball on the baseline, goes out of play. Akuche couldn't save it, and the Penguins turn it right back over.
Ollison thought he was fouled. He's not going to get a call. Again, the officials have been very, very liberal in terms of these guys being able to play.
Sean Quee coming up the floor as the Penguins again look to trap. Hunter stops him at midcourt, pass to Godfrey, to Planutis near sideline, drives right baseline on Akuche. Underneath the basket, reverse layup good for Bobby Planutis. He's got himself 7 points. Last year in the 2 games here at Youngstown State, he averaged better than 10 points a game to go with 4 rebounds a contest.
I was going to say, Planutis had a really big one game. I remember that.
Akuche dribbling it for Youngstown State against Petty to the right of the lane. Whips it across the floor to Cohill with 10 to shoot. Cohill, near side of the floor, left wing. Trying to get around Pipkins with 5 to shoot. Ball thrown to an open Ollison, right wing 3, got it. Tevin Ollison coming off of that game on Wednesday in which he hit 4 threes. Nails that one. He's now made a 3 in 4 straight games. And the Penguins this year are 8-1 when he made at least 1 3 in a game. On the drive now. Sean Quee gives it to Planutis, who lost the dribble. Gets it back and peels out of trouble. Hands to Sean Quee to the right of the lane. No look pass hit underneath the basket. Akuche saves it. Behind the back pass to Ollison. He'll take it into the forecourt for the Penguins. Cuts through traffic to the basket. Scooped it up. Can't get it to go. Comes off the rim. Rebound knocked out to Godfrey of Purdue Fort Wayne. He'll hustle into the forecourt. Take it himself against Cohill. Draws contact. Missed the runner, but was fouled on the play. So Dwayne Cohill with his first foul call of the night. Penguins 4th as a team. It will place Jared Godfrey of Purdue Fort Wayne at the free throw line. Godfrey 3 points tonight. That was a 3 that he had knocked down. Godfrey against the league so far this year, averaging 17 points, 5 rebounds. He's made all 16 of his free throws in league play so far. Overall an 80% free throw shooter as he knocks that one down. In the 2 games against Youngstown State here last year, he averaged better than 20 points and 5 assists in the 2 games and went 9 of 10 from the line. Petty and Planutis sit down for Purdue Fort Wayne. Billups and DeJournay come back in. For Youngstown State, Hunter and Owen Long go to the bench. Ogoro and Rattan Mays inserted into their lineup. 2-point lead for Purdue Fort Wayne with just over 4 minutes left to play in the first half. Jared Godfrey once again at the free throw line. Put that one straight through, as expected. He'll now come out of the lineup, giving way to JoJo Peterson. So Godfrey with 5 points, gives his team a 3-point cushion. Shamar Rattan Mays into the forecourt now against Sean Quee. Stops, looking for Ogoro. He comes and gets the ball, picked up by Billups. Ogoro middle of the floor. Looking left, feeds to Akuche, back out front to Ogoro. 6'5" redshirt sophomore, going to take it down the left of the lane, make the pass to Akuche, knocked away, stolen by Jalen Pipkins of Purdue Fort Wayne. Penguins' 6th turnover so far. Pipkins down the other end, missed the floater. Rattan Mays throws the miss off of Pipkins, and then it comes out to DeJournay. He got it to Billups, who whips it now to Damian Chong Quee, who delivers with a 3 from the far sideline. Earlier this year, Chong Quee reached the 1,000 career point mark in the game against Florida Gulf Coast back on November 28th. His first basket is the 4th 3 made by the Mastodons, as many as Purdue Fort Wayne, which has only coughed it up 3 times. Ollison takes the inbounds pass off the timeout. Gets out front to Daniel Ogoro. Goes to Rattan Mays. Finds Akuche now, left wing on Rob Petty. Akuche looks to drive in traffic. Bounce pass to the cutting Tevin Ollison, who went up for the dunk. Knocked to the floor, fouled on the play. Well, Ollison has that kind of explosiveness, but he'll have to shoot a couple of free throws here. Foul going to be assessed to Deontay Billups. And Billups made sure he was not going to slam that home. So Billups first is the 3rd now against, actually the 4th against the Mastodons. So again, both these teams can shoot it really well from the free throw line. Tevin Ollison overall an 84% free throw shooter. Penguins as a team against the league shooting better than 87%, 75% for the season, as Tevin Ollison misses his first charity toss at home, where he was 8 of 8 prior to that miss. Purdue Fort Wayne again shooting better than 90% from the line against the league. Overall number 1 in Horizon League play. And overall at 79.5% still leads the league as Ollison splits the pair, scores his 6th point of the half, and Youngstown State trails 28-23. They pick up pressure here. Godfrey gives to Chong Kui, coming up the floor against Rattan Mays. At the center circle, Pipkins takes the ball, drives by Ollison to the left of the lane, to the basket, scooped it up and got it to go. Jalen Pipkins now with 5 points. The lead goes to 7 now. It's been its largest lead of the night for Purdue Fort Wayne. Rattan Mays, far sideline with it for the Penguins. Gives to Akuche, back to Rattan Mays. 15 to shoot now for YSU. Rattan Mays into the lane. Hooks the ball to Cohill, left of the lane. Up with the floater against Petty and scores. Dwayne Cohill in double figures now for the 7th time this season. YSU is 5-1 when he scores double figures in a game.
Mastodons have done a really nice job playing perimeter defense, so the Penguins need to go inside.
Chong Kui threw up an air ball. Akuche got it and then got hit in the Robert Morris. 3.5 minutes left to play at the UPMC Event Center. And in the first half, the Colonials have a 29-27 advantage. With that, Godfrey heading down the right of the lane. Missed the runner, and it comes off the rim to Akuche, who clears to Rattan Mays. Cross-court pass goes to Ollison, right wing. To the right of the lane, through traffic, lost the ball. Godfrey took it away. He'll take it back into the forecourt. Cohill slows him down as he almost came up with the takeaway. Ball thrown now to Planutis, far sideline. Guarded by Ogoro. Gives to Chong Kui. Petty sets the screen at the top lane. Won't shoot, pass to Planutis instead. 15 to shoot, Bobby Planutis, far sideline. Hands it back to Chong Kui, who gives to Pipkins. Heads down the left of the lane. Going to take a tough shot, threw it behind the basket and out of play. But they're going to say the Penguins, Michael Akuche, deflected it out of bounds. 8 seconds to shoot. 1:23 to go in the opening half. Purdue Fort Wayne leading by 5. They've led by as many as 7. Godfrey from the right baseline lobs it out to Jalen Pipkins. Looking for Godfrey. Said he's going to run and spin in the lane against Ollison, stumble and travel with it. Jalen Pipkins with the turnover. YSU will get the ball, trailing 30-25.
Reoccurring theme, Rob. Both teams playing reasonably good defense. Even though it's a 30-25 game, both teams have been playing solid defense. The Mastodons from the perimeter, the Penguins from the paint area.
Cohill in the fork with it for Youngstown State. Cohill gives the ball to Ogoro as we approach 1 minute left in the half. Ball comes back to Cohill, far side. And then as Chong Lee comes running around Cohill, guarding Rattan Mays, a foul here against Cohill.
I can say that Cohill moved his backside just ever so slightly to allow Mr. Chong Kui to fall to the ground.
So Cohill lifted from the lineup. That's his second personal foul. Chris Shelton will come in to take his spot. 1 minute left in the half now. Mastodons lead by 5. Chong Kui into the forecourt. Comes to the near side by the Petty screen. Gives him the ball now. Throws to Pipkins. Finds Godfrey far sideline. Goes to the left baseline. Turning. Pass to Planutis. Catch and shoot 3. No good. Bounced across the basket. Ball on the floor. Picked up by Rattan Mays for Youngstown State. He'll head into the forecourt now. To the right wing. Far side finds Ogoro. Clears the ball to Akuche, right wing. To the right of the lane. Turning around the baseline on Petty. Going to take the fade away. Put it in. Michael Akuche with 5 points. YSU needs him to get going. He comes in averaging 14 points to go with 7.5 rebounds a contest. Penguins down 3 with under 20 seconds to go in the half now, as PFW will work for the final shot before the break. Jared Godfrey in the center circle. Inside of 10 seconds to go in the half now. Petty sets the screen. Godfrey left wing. Top of the lane. 4-3. Nope. Skids off the rim to Ollison. Will get one off before the horn sounds. They'll now be traveling right to left. All right, ball goes into Chong Kui. Last season, he was named to the All-NEC first team. Easy to see why. Good point guard. Pipkins now with it down the right lane. Quickly attacks, but missed the runner, and the ball comes off the hands of Rob Petty. The Penguins almost fumbled the ball away, but finally grab it. And now Dwayne Cohill will come into the forecourt and give to the Penguins Shamar Rattan Mays. Guarded by Chong Kui. Ball thrown to Ollison, far sideline. Left wing to the left of the lane through traffic on the run. Can't bank it in. Rebound, batted around to Planutis of Purdue Fort Wayne. Clears the ball now to Chong Kui. Into the forecourt as he pushes it to Godfrey. Penetrates, kicks the ball to Pipkins near corner 3's no good off the front of the rim. And the rebound tapped by Hunter over to Rattan Mays of the Penguins. He'll come into the forecourt, leave the ball for Dwayne Cohill. By Akuche, into traffic, ball not loose. Penguins turn it over again. Chong Kui with the steal. Heads to the left end of the floor, but peels back to the far sideline. Now drives to the lane. Scoops it up underneath the Rob Petty, who pops in 2 off the backboard.
Yeah, Chong Kui did a really nice job seeing the mismatch. Got the ball to Petty, easy deuce.
Petty, a good defender now with 6 points tonight. Ball hooked to Dwayne Cohill. He'll bounce it to Akuche, working on Petty, right of the lane, spins, hooks it up with his left hand, air ball, grabbed by Planutis of Purdue Fort Wayne. He'll now scoop it to Godfrey. Mastodon starting to gain a little confidence, it looks. Godfrey near side of the floor against Hunter. Now top of the lane, down the right of the lane. They cleared out, he stops, turns, can't get off a shot, now takes the attempt and Hunter blocked it. Ball on the floor and he grabs it away for YSU. Gives to Rattan-Mays, to the basket against Chong Kui, scooped it up, got it to bounce in. Shamar Rattan-Mays with his first field goal of the night comes in averaging just under 8 points to go with 2 rebounds a contest. And Pipkins penetrates, got it to Godfrey, out to Planutis, right wing, open 3 for him is short. And the rebound to Hunter of Youngstown State. Good look by Planutis. Allison now gives to Akuche right of the lane against Planutis, who knocked the ball away from behind. On the floor, grabbed by Pipkins. Ahead to Godfrey. Against Rattan-Mays, he'll take it right himself to the basket and lay it in. That was too easy for Jared Godfrey. He's got 7 points, and the Mastodons benefit again from a Penguins turnover.
And Akuche thought he was fouled on our end, and obviously the turnover leading to a basket on the other end.
Miles Hunter with it for YSU. Planutis shuts off the baseline drive to Akuche, finds Rattan-Mays, far sideline 3. Bang, bang. Rattan-Mays with a big 3 there in his last 4 games. He was just 3 of 14 from the field, only 2 of 6 from beyond the arc. Penguins' 3rd 3 of the night. In the meantime, Chong Kui drives down the left of the lane, but left his runner short. Rob Petty grabs a miss. It'll be Chong Kui to inbound from the left baseline. Throws into Benford, left baseline. Hands it right now to Godfrey. Comes out to the wing, deals the ball to Townsend, finds Billups. Fumbled it, got it back into the lane against Hunter. Pump fakes, can't get off the shot. Now throws up a bad attempt with one hand. Got his own miss, missed the lay-in on the follow. Then as Miles Hunter grabs the ball, out of frustration, Deontay Billups grabs him and commits his 2nd personal foul. A couple of good looks for Billups, and he just couldn't get the finish.
Solid defense by the Penguins, and Billups was a little disappointed in himself. Took out his frustrations on that foul.
Well, YSU trails by 2, 3 minutes into the second half. Chance to tie, maybe take the lead back. Rattan-Mays into the forecourt. Gives the ball to Akuche. Swings it now to Cohill, far sideline. Whips it back to Akuche, left wing, 4-3. Left it short. A rebound controlled by JoJo Peterson. Comes into the forecourt with it for the Mastodons. Dribbling near sideline by the Benford screen to the left of the lane. Got open for the long jumper and buried it. JoJo Peterson now with 6 points. He came in averaging less than 2 points a game for the Dons, who lead 36-32. Penguins back the other way. Rattan-Mays drives to the right of the lane, stumbles into traffic, knocked to the ground by Benford. So the foul here against Cameron Benford, a 6'8" graduate student from Seattle, Washington, is his first foul. 2nd of the half assessed to the Mastodons as they bring Pipkins and Petty back in. Benford and Godfrey will go to the bench. Rattan-Mays from the right baseline. Looking for a guy in white. Still looking. Gotta hurry. Gotta hurry it up. Couldn't do so. Penguins couldn't get the ball inbounds. Turnover there to PFW. YSU now in double figures in turnovers. They committed 26 in Wednesday's win at Robert Morris. They've coughed it up 11 times tonight. Billups now with it, gives to Townsend, who throws to Pipkins. Works into the lane against Cohill, lost the ball on his way to the basket, dribbled it off his knee and out of bounds. With that, Daniel Agoro inserted into YSU's lineup in favor of Miles Hunter. 16 minutes left to play in the game. Still anyone's contest. YSU takes over, trailing 36-32.
You made mention something in the first half. You know, the longer that Purdue Fort Wayne is in this game, the more confidence they're going to get. This team has not won a game on the road all year long, as I'm knocking on wood real quick. So they're gaining some serious confidence right now.
Rattan Mays in the forecourt. Gives the ball to Cohill. Scooped it right back to Rattan Mays. Dribbles into the near corner now against Pipkins. Pass to Ollison. Gets it out front to Akuche. Heads down the left of the lane on Petty into the double team. Ball thrown to Cohill, far sideline. Working into a double team of his own. Cohill left of the lane. Gets off the 7-footer. Left it short. Rebound controlled by Purdue Fort Wayne. Townsend clears it now to Chong Kui. To the foul line, whips the ball to Billups, goes left baseline, in the lane, fed to Petty. Pump fakes, got Akuche in the air, reverse layup is good for Rob Petty, who's got 8 points now. His best game of the year came against Austin P when he had 17, and the Penguins again with a quick trigger miss. Ollison's drive is no good. Here come the Dons. Chong Kui down the right of the lane, gives the basketball to Pipkins, knocked away by Ollison, and he steals it away for YSU. Ollison through traffic now, going to drive to the lane again, go to the basket, scoop it up. This one goes in. Tevin Ollison now with 8 points for the Penguins, who trail 38-34. Less than 15 minutes to play in the game. Chong Kui's pass to Pipkins. Right wing by the Petty screen in the lane, stops, won't shoot it. Pass it out to Billups. He heads to the right of the lane on Cohill. To the baseline. Trying to turn, does so. 8-footer up, left it short. Rebound on the floor, saved by Cohill. Nope, Quintadons will get the timeout with the ball. So Godfrey will inbound to Townsend near sideline. Clears it to Petty now, left wing. Godfrey comes and gets the ball from him. Quickly turns, shoots the three, but can't get it to go off the back of the rim. Long rebound to Cohill of Youngstown State. He'll come into the forecourt with it. Stop, just inside the three-point line. Keeps the dribble alive, however, and then lost the dribble himself. Picked up by JoJo Peterson of the Dons. Gives to Chong Kui, back to Peterson. Peterson in the lane, hooks it up with the right hand, can't get it to fall. Rebound to Cohill of YSU as Luke Chacon, who's come in, will bring it now into the forecourt. Chacon bounced the ball to Akuche, steps into the near corner. Petty out on him, ball goes topside to Chacon. By Akuche screen, ball pushed now to Shelton near corner. Back out to Chacon, gives to Akuche, finds Ogoro in front of his own bench. Ogoro bounces to Akuche, almost an interception. Ball given to Chacon, fakes the three to the right baseline, jumper in the air and in the basket. Luke Chacon got himself set, 5'10" freshman out of Menor, Ohio. Gets his first 2 points, came in averaging about 3 points per game for the Penguins. And with that, they now trail by 2. See if the Dons can counter here. JoJo Peterson, right wing to the foul line. Push the ball to Planutis, right wing, far side of the floor against Shelton. Gives it now to Chong Kui. Makes the pass to Peterson again. He finds Godfrey with 5 to shoot. Godfrey, left of the lane, steps, can't get off a shot. Out front, Chong Kui to beat the shot clock. Long three, no good. Rebound, Akuche takes it away from Rob Petty of Purdue Fort Wayne, and he's called for the foul. Well, good defense by Youngstown State. And they'll get the ball, but first they'll bring Jameer Thomas and Tevin Ollison in the game. Damian Chong Kui will get a breather. He'll be taken out of the lineup for the Dons. So Tevin Ollison will inbound for Youngstown State, which is down 2. 13:02 to play in the game. Chacon in the forecourt now. Center circle against Peterson. Makes the pass to Shelton by the Thomas screen to the top of the lane. Gives it back to Chacon. Shelton right wing, catch and shoot three. Can't get it to fall. Would have given the Penguins the lead. Rebound though to Purdue Fort Wayne. Planutis clears it now to Peterson. Ahead to Godfrey. Top of the lane against Ollison. Still top of the lane, heads to the left of the lane. Finds himself open, mid-range jumper's perfect. Jared Godfrey with a good look, doesn't miss that time. Has himself 9 points. And it's a 4-point advantage for the Mastodons. Chacon in the meantime almost had the ball taken away by JoJo Peterson, then lost it over the timeline. Official said the ball was knocked in the backcourt, so Chacon finds himself open and hits the long jumper from the top of the lane. Chacon now with a couple of good field goals. That's a deuce. He's got 4 points, and the Penguins back to within 2.
Boy, the coaching staff from Purdue Fort Wayne not too happy with that call. It'll be interesting to see a replay there.
Godfrey, left wing three on the money.
Oof.
That's clutch. His second three of the night gives him 12 points. He's now in double figures for the 13th straight game this season. Purdue Fort Wayne leads 43-38. Jameer Thomas has it for YSU against Benford. Gets rid of the ball to Ogoro. Throws to Thomas, left wing, cross-court pass Given to Chris Sherman. He runs in off the timeout. They're shooting 37% from the field. They've hit 5 threes in the game and have made 2 free throws. Penguins shooting 43% from the floor. They've made 3 from long range and have connected on 3 of 4 from the stripe. So into the game now, Jonathan Desjardins gives to Pipkins. Working on Ogoro, knocked him to the ground, and they call Ogoro with the foul. Daniel Ogoro tried to draw the charge, could not do so. His first infraction is the Penguins' second foul as a team here in the half. 11:20 left to play. Purdue Fort Wayne took the lead at 11-9. Penguins tied the game at 11, but the Mastodons got the lead right back, and they have not trailed since. Pipkins into the lane against Ogoro, got it out front to JoJo Peterson, whose 3 is short off the front of the rim. Rebound to Chris Shelton. Gives to Dwayne Cohill, who comes in off that last time out. Cohill out front by the Thomas screen. Hooks the ball to Chacon, far sideline, fakes the 3 to the left of the lane, floater up, banked it in. Luke Chacon now with 6 points here in the half. That 6 is his new single game high against the league, surpassing the 3 that he had at Green Bay earlier in the year. His best game offensively was against Westminster when he scored 10 points. YSU now to within 3 as Billups runs down the right of the lane, missed the runner. Rebound snatched away by YSU's Jameer Thomas, gives to Chacon. Comes into the forecourt now, right wing. Chacon by Thomas Green, top of the lane, long jumper, bouncing around, still bouncing around, no good. Tap by Shelton is good, however. Chris Shelton with a big putback for his first 2, normally a 3-point shooter. But hanging around the basket, the Penguins now down 1 with Ed Billups. Makes the pass to Pipkins, who nails the 3. Pipkins with a clutch 3, much like Jared Gottfried hit a 3 earlier in this half.
Penguins have to do a better job on the perimeter defensively.
Pipkins' second 3 gives him 8 points overall. Lead goes to 4 now for PFW. With that, Ogoro drives into the lane, tried to make the pass to Shelton in the near corner. Not a good pass. He was bailed out because Jalen Pipkins couldn't intercept it and fumbled the ball out of play as Desjardins, Billups, and Peterson go to the bench for the Dons. Petty, Chonqui, and Planutis return. Gottfried and Pipkin stay on the floor for PFW. 13 to shoot for Youngstown State. Just under 10 minutes left to play in the game. Luke Chacon for YSU will put the ball in play to Chris Shelton. Near sideline, can't get off a 3, give to Jameer Thomas, top of the lane. 1 dribble for him, scoops to Chacon out front. Chacon by Thomas. Right wing, top side to Cohill, looks to drive down the right of the lane, hooked up a wild shot to beat the shot clock. Couldn't get it to go off the front of the rim. Rebound to Planutis, 52 from the field for 36.5%. They've hit 6 threes though. 2 clutch threes here in the second half, one by Gottfried and most recently by Pipkins to keep them out on top. Planutis down the forecourt, gives the ball to Chonqui, far sideline by the screen, makes the pass now to an open Gottfried. Passes on the 3, heads to the lane, got it out to Chonqui, down the left of the lane by Chacon, lost the ball. Chris Shelton takes it away for Youngstown State, pushed ahead to Ogoro, heads to the right baseline, got it back out to Chacon, into the lane. Needing a little bit of help here. Ogoro comes out, gets the ball, feeds it right back to the freshman. Coming up on 9 minutes left to play in the half, YSU with the ball down 4. Luke Chacon out front on Jared Gottfried by the Thomas screen. Chacon gives to Shelton, wide open, top of the lane, 4-3. Off the back of the rim, no good. Long rebound will go out of play. Good look for Shelton. He came in having made a 3 in 8 straight games. 4 times this year, he's made as many as 3 threes in a contest. But Shelton tonight has not found the range from outside the arc, has just 2 points in the contest.
He's a streak shooter. He's got to keep shooting that ball. Sooner or later, it's going to drop, and then he's going to get hot again.
Godfrey with a couple of threes tonight, has it for the Dons, gets to Pipkins, top of the lane against Ogoro. Spins, Ogoro reached inside, tried to take it away. Pass goes to Chonqui, far sideline against Chacon. Chonqui to the right of the lane, 7 to shoot, into traffic, up with the floater, banked it in. Damian Chonqui now with 5 points in the game. Comes in averaging 8 a contest. And after their lead had shrunk to 1, the Mastodons have now opened up a 6-point gap. Chacon in the meantime down the left of the lane, gives to Ogoro of YSU, far sideline. Heads to the lane, spins on Planutis, scooped one up. He was tripped before the shot, however. They're going to give him the basket.
Yep. Yeah.
He got the continuation. So Ogoro gets the basket as he was tripped on his spin move. Managed to bank in 2. Planutis called for the foul, his first. And Daniel Ogoro will go to the line. Has 4 points tonight. YSU down 4 with 8:15 to go. Both teams make a few changes to the 5 on the floor. In the meantime, Daniel Agoro sent to the line for the first time here this evening. Did not get to the stripe in the 2 games last year against Purdue Fort Wayne. Only a 42% free throw shooter for the season. Missed that one. He's now missed 8 in a row this year after making his first 5. And with that, Purdue Fort Wayne grabs the miss and comes into the forecourt. Chong Lee in the lane. Throws it now topside to Jarvis Walker, who's come in. Deals to Planutis, who scoops it back to Chong Kui. At the foul line, gives to Planutis near side. Tevin Ollison on him. Planutis goes left baseline. Scoop them. Nonetheless, the ball is turned over to the Penguins off the timeout, and they trail 48-44. Chacon will come into the forecourt now, picked up by Godfrey. Ball thrown to Agoro. Back to Chacon, near side, top side to Agoro. He and Chacon playing catch out front. Chacon right wing, finds Ollison, near corner 3. Got it! Tevin Ollison with his second 3, puts him in double figures for the 10th time this season, now with 11 points. And just like that, YSU pulls to within 1 again. They trailed 43-42, but couldn't get over the hump. And here, a drive by Jared Godfrey's shortened and disrupted on a foul by Dwayne Cohill. So Cohill with his 3rd foul of the night for Youngstown State. Team foul number 3 here in the second half. 7:24 to play in the contest. Godfrey from the left baseline, got it into Petty, back to Godfrey. Working on Cohill, gives to Planutis. Finds JoJo Peterson left baseline. Peterson to the left of the lane, runs to the foul line, into traffic, hooks the ball to Godfrey, far sideline, 8 to shoot. Godfrey against Cohill to the right of the lane, stops in the lane, 5-foot. Jumper is good with 5 on the shot clock. Jared Godfrey now with 14 points in the contest. Coming off an 18.3 rebound performance in the loss Wednesday at Cleveland State. A solid score for PFW. In the meantime, Daniel Agoro drives right through traffic to the basket and lays in 2 more. Agoro now with 6 points. And YSU back to within 1 at 50-49. But then a takeaway here. Chacon in the forecourt, gives to Cohill, to the basket, finds an open Agoro right wing. Gives to Ollison near corner. Pass to Cohill. Topside, Agoro pushes up the 3. No good off to the left. Rebound, Akuche goes to the hole, laid it in and got fouled. And just like that, YSU has its first lead since they were on top 9-7 early in the first half. Michael Akuche, who has been a beast on the boards in the last 2 seasons. Last year against PFW in the 2 games, he averaged 11.5 points, but had 11 rebounds a game. This putback gives him 7 points tonight, puts Youngstown State on top 51-50, our second lead change of the game.
Akuche showing all kinds of emotion once he hit that basket.
Akuche, line to the right. First trip to the stripe for him tonight, where he's an 85% shooter, but he missed it off the back of the rim, and then the fight for the rebound leads to an official whistle because of foul against Tevin Ollison. No, wait, yep, that's what they're doing. The bench trying to get the team involved. For Akuche, rare miss for him. Penguins still up 1 as they're going to pick up pressure now off the inbounds. Godfrey trapped by Agoro and Ollison. Throws the ball to Chong Kui. Fires it up the floor now to Billups in the forecourt. Makes the pass across the floor to Pipkins near corner 3. Good. Jalen Pipkins with his 3rd 3. He's got 11 points. In double figures for the 10th time this season. And just like that, PFW gets the lead back. YSU looking to counter now. Chacon, left of lane, open, 15-footer, perfect. Luke Chacon with 8 points, all of them in the second half, and YSU has tied the game at 53. It's our 5th stalemate, first of the second half.
The young freshman is just continuing to impress here.
Called for a foul here, a little over-aggressive defensively against Chong Kui. So Chacon's first foul. Stops play with 5:52 to go in the contest, and we are even at 53. So the Dons will inbound the ball now from the far sideline. Pipkins, who's hit a couple of big 3s here. Transfer from Loyola of Chicago, gets the ball into Chong Kui, back to Pipkins, down the right of the lane, on the run, makes the pass out to an open Billups. His 3's in the air, off the rim, no good. Rebound, Petty, couldn't get it to go, pushed it back up, left it short once, and then as he grabbed his own miss, he got fouled on the second attempt. Looks like Chacon, yep, Chacon's the guilty party, that's his 2nd. So now 2 free throws coming for Rob Petty. He's a 70% shooter from the line, 66% against the league. Petty line to the left, pushed the first one up, no good off the rim. Petty with 8 points tonight. Last year in the 2 games, Purdue-Fort Wayne was only a 67% free throw shooting team against the Penguins. Petty again. That one he pushes up off the back of the rim and it bounced up and through. He's got 9 points while splitting the pair, giving PFW a 54-53 lead. Chacon now in the forecourt, scoops the ball to Ollison, back to Chacon near sideline. Chacon looking for Akuche, throws it out front instead to Ollison on the wing. Ollison near side of the floor, hooks the ball to Akuche, but it's taken away by Billups. He timed the pass well. He'll run it to the other end and hammer in 2. Deontay State. All right, Daniel Agora will put it in play for the Penguins to Luke Chacon. Chacon's had a big second half with 8 points. Working out front on Chong Kui. Spins to the left of the lane. Throws it out to Agoro, gives to Akuche, middle of the floor. Finds Tevin Ollison near side. Ollison draws the double team. Fires to Akuche, right wing, long 3. Can't get it to go. Rebound though to Dwayne Cohill, left of the lane. His jumper up, off the glass, no good. And the rebound to Pipkins of the Mastodons. Gives to Chong Kui into the forecourt. Big offensive possession here for the Dons. Chong Kui into the lane, takes the 12-footer and he floated it in. He's got 7 points, and just like that, Purdue-Fort Wayne leads 58-53 after the Penguins had tied it at 53. Chacon now with it for YSU in the forecourt, working near sideline, trying to get around Jalen Pipkins, who fouled him. And for Pipkins, his first, stops play with 4:34 to go in the game. Purdue-Fort Wayne now over the limit as a team. That was their 7th foul, as Pipkins will check out in favor of Billups. So Luke Chacon will be sent to the free throw line. These are his first free throws against the league this season. In the meantime, Cameron Benford will come in for the Dons. He will spell Rob Petty. Chacon 8 points tonight, all of them in the second half. Chacon line to the right. For the season, a 54% free throw shooter, and he misses the front end of the 1-and-1. Penguins now 0 for 3 from the line in the second half. Rebound to PFW. Chong Kui, far side of the floor, right wing by the Benford screen. Gives the ball to Billups. He can shoot the 3 when given a chance. Billups will drive though on Ollison, take the runner, miss it, and the rebound to Ollison of YSU. Coming up on 4 minutes left to play in the game. Ollison dribbles into the forecourt, makes the pass to Ogoro. He goes to the left of the lane. Stops, bounce pass Akuche in traffic, muscle run up and in, and got fouled as well. Michael Akuche needs to take over for the Penguins. He now has 9 points in the game. So the foul against Cameron Benford, his 2nd. Penguins now to within 3. Benford's coming out for the Dons. His spot filled by Rob Petty.
Big man needs to own the paint the rest of the night. And Youngstown State needs to take the ball to the basket. Good things will happen if you take it to the hoop.
Pipkins back in for Billups in the PFW lineup. Akuche 0 of 1 from the line tonight. Penguins have not made a free throw in the second half, and they have been shooting 87% from the line against the league, as Akuche drills that one to reach double figures in scoring for the 13th time this season and the 5th straight game. YSU now closes it to within 2. They'll pick up pressure off the inbounds pass. Godfrey, trapped, gets the ball to Chong Kui, throws ahead to Pipkins. Comes into the forecourt, working through traffic to the far side of the floor. Chased by Cohill. Pipkins gives the ball to Chong Kui. Under 4 minutes to go in the game now. Near the top of the lane against Akuche. Left of the lane. Stops. Clears it out front. Pipkins 14 to shoot from the foul line. Ball goes up and in. Boy, Jalen Pipkins, the 5th-year senior from Paris, Texas, with a couple of big baskets. He now has 13 points in the game, and that gives Purdue-Fort Wayne a 60-56 advantage. Cohill now with it for YSU left wing. Throws to Chacon near side of the floor. Behind the back dribble, right side, gives to Ollison near corner. Won't shoot the 3 against Godfrey, give to Akuche right baseline. Akuche against Petty. Akuche spins, trying to muscle one up, 5-footer into the air over the basket. Rebound to Godfrey to PFW, which leads 60-56. Godfrey into the forecourt, near side of the floor, left wing out front. To Chong Kui, who finds Planutis. He'll run it out front. Try to make the pass that was almost intercepted by Cohill, but he got it to Pipkins now. Finds Godfrey, fires it out front. Chong Kui, open 3, no good. A little bit too far out of his range. Rebound comes off the rim to Chacon. Back into the forecourt. Gives to Agoro far sideline. Finds Chacon, left wing. Against Pipkins to the left of the lane. Underneath the basket. Ball given to Ollison, open, near sideline, step to his right. Got the three in the air. Can't get it to go, rims out. Rebound on the floor.
For like the last 5 minutes.
He's logged sizable moments here in the second half in favor of Shamar Rattan-Mays. Chacon, front end of the one-on-one here is perfect. Got a chance to reach double figures for the second time in his career. Pulls YSU to within a one-possession game. Chacon again, line to the right. Looking for his 10th point. That one rims out. And the rebound to Pipkins of Purdue Fort Wayne. Gives to Godfrey. The senior from Atlanta will come into the forecourt. Godfrey at the center circle, guarded by Daniel Agoro. Godfrey runs down the right of the lane, right to the basket. Underneath, his shot hit underneath the backboard. Didn't even get to the rim, but he got fouled on the play. And now Damian Chong Kui looks like he might have turned his right ankle. The Dons' focus right now is on their 5'8" senior from Baltimore, Maryland. Well, he's trying to walk it off. The foul in the meantime assessed to Daniel Agoro, his second. Penguins go over the limit. Still 2 free throws coming this time around for Godfrey. And still Chong Kui just trying to walk that ankle off. Godfrey, 2 of 2 from the line. He's made all 18 of his free throws against the league this season. 14 points tonight, 2 of 2 tonight from the stripe. Trying to make it a 2-possession game with 2:24 to go in the contest. Godfrey's first one, perfect. We had talked about this is the best free throw shooting team in the Horizon League. Penguins aren't far behind. We showed you that graphic earlier. Godfrey again going after his 16th point from the stripe. He's got it. And now PFW leads at 62-57. All right, Chacon in the forecourt. Near sideline with it. Picked up by Godfrey. Ball thrown to Ollison. Guarded by Chong Kui. They're going to test that ankle. Pass to Akuche, left wing. Hands to Agoro. Looking to drive, nothing there. Gives to Chacon. 14 to shoot. Chacon left of the lane against Chong Kui, and he fouled him. So that foul against Chong Kui will be his second. Back to the line goes Luke Chacon. He'll get 2 free throws here because the Penguins are now in the double bonus for the remaining 2 minutes of this game.
As I mentioned, Rob, take the ball to the basket, good things happen. Now you got to hit your free throws. But it's too early to be fouling right now.
Chacon's first one rimmed out again. He's now 1 of 4 from the stripe tonight. 9 points overall for the freshman. All right, Chacon again. Reloads from the line to the right. Pushes that one up, and that goes in. So Chacon splits the pair in double figures for the second time in his career, matching his career high in scoring with 10. As the Penguins bring Miles Hunter into the game, replacing Chacon. He cut the Penguins' deficit to 62-58.
Backcourt pressure being put on by the Penguins.
Chong Kui coming up the floor. Got the ball to Godfrey. Along the near sideline into the forecourt now. Ball thrown to Chong Kui, less than 2 minutes to go in the game.
Penguins don't need to foul here. You got plenty of time to get a possession, play some defense, get the possession back, get it to within 1, play some more defense.
10 seconds to shoot. Chong Kui steps to the left, long jumper up, no good. Rebound, Rob Petty gets it though, then lost it on the way back up. Big offensive rebound for Rob Petty. And the foul against Tevin Ollison. Well, if you're going to foul a guy on the best free throw shooting team in the league, it would be Rob Petty, who again is 1 of 2 tonight from the line. Against the league, he's now 5 of 8. Now he's still a 70% free throw shooter for the season. Pushes that first one up, bouncing around, falls through. Non-league play as they cruise by Ohio Christian 108-40. All right, Penguins with the ball off the timeout. Chacon into the forecourt. Heads to the far sideline, goes to the left of the lane. Cross-court pass to Ollison, near corner 3. Can't get it to go. Rebound, fought for on the floor. Ollison runs it down, then lost the ball trying to get it back. Chong Kui took it away from him. Ollison tries to... Looking for Ollison. Got to hurry it again. They've already had one 5-second call. That ball lobbed into Akuche at the foul line. Lost it. Saved by Ogoro, far sideline. Goes to the basket underneath. His pass saved by Ollison near corner. Turns on Godfrey. Right of the lane. Into traffic. Bounce pass Akuche. Tough catch. Lost the ball on the way up. Out to Cohill with 5 to shoot. Left wing 3. No good. And the rebound controlled by Pipkins of Purdue Fort Wayne. Got it to Chong Kui, who was then fouled by Chacon. That'll be his third, and we'll walk it to the left end of the floor and shoot free throws with 63 seconds to go. And again, defense is something that Purdue Fort Wayne was not noted for coming in. I think they've played really solid D here tonight. And, Penguins may complain that they haven't gotten the call, but, Purdue Fort Wayne's been there to contest just about everything YSU's tried tonight.
Well, not only that, the officials have been consistent all night long. They have let the teams play, and Purdue Fort Wayne has out-physicaled Youngstown State to this point.
Chong Kui's first free throw, front end of the 1-on-1 is good. For the season, he's an 82% free throw shooter. He's now made 7 of 8 against the league this year. He's got 8 points in the game. That free throw makes it a 7-point advantage as the Mastodons now have a 3-possession advantage. Next one pushed up and in as well. Chong Kui with 9. It's a 66-58 advantage. Penguins got to hurry now. Cohill gives to Akuche, left wing, long 3. No good off the back of the rim. Rebound snatched away by Godfrey of Purdue Fort Wayne, and he's fouled in the backcourt. Now the Mastodons now can smell their first league road win of the season. It would be their second road win overall. And the Penguins' Horizon League home opener will not end the way they had hoped it would. So the foul on Ollison, his 4th. 2 free throws coming now for Jared Godfrey.
And there's not much of a turnaround before the Vikings come to town.
And Purdue Fort Wayne heads to Moon Township. They'll be at Robert Morris Sunday for a 1 o'clock tip. Cleveland State comes here Sunday for a 2 o'clock game as Godfrey brings up his 17th point of the game. Godfrey now 5 of 5 from the line this evening.
PFW 10 of 11 from the free throw line.
Trying to get the lead up to 10. This would be their largest advantage of the game. Godfrey again. Good again. 18 for him. That's his per game average for the most part. And now it's 68-58. With that, Chacon's drive down the left of the lane. He had the ball knocked loose by Chong Kui, and it went out of bounds. 44 seconds left in the game. Chacon from the right baseline. Lobs it out to Ollison, far sideline. Ollison left wing. His 3 goes up. That's in and out, no good. Rebound to Pipkins of Purdue Fort Wayne. Will the Penguins foul? Chacon in the backcourt tried to knock it loose. Akuche will now grab him and foul him. That leaves us with 33.7 seconds to go in the game as the parade to the free throw line continues for the Mastodons. Now the final score is going to look a lot different than it probably should because of these free throws that will pad the Mastodons' final margin of victory. Right now up by 10. Free throws for Pipkins, whose first trip to the line tonight results in his 14th point of the game. He's an 85% free throw shooter for the year, a 92% shooter against the league. He's now 13 of 14 for the season against Horizon League competition, makes that second one as well. Now 70-58. Chacon in the forecourt around the Akuche screen, shoots the 3 and nailed it for Chacon. His first made 3 at home, only his second made 3 in his career. YSU trails 70-61. Ball comes in to Billups, then back to Chong Kui, who was fouled. So the Penguins not giving up just yet. For Chacon, though, he's been the highlight here in the second half, scoring all 13 of his points in the final 20 minutes of play. 25.5 seconds to go in this one. At the line will be Damian Chong Kui, who's 2 of 2 from the stripe. Again, the transfer out of Mount St. Mary's with 9 points overall.
And Ollison fouling out of the game with that foul. He finishes with 11 as Chris Shelton comes into the game.
Chong Kui with his teammates kind of just standing all amongst themselves. The only guy at the lane, Rob Petty. Chong Kui drops in the first one, now in double figures for the 5th time this season. He's got himself 10.7 of them coming here in the second half. Next one for the 5'8" senior is off the back of the rim. No good. Rebound to Agoro. Got it to Chacon. Hurries in the forecourt. Right wing three for him. That one's off the mark. Rebound Pipkins. And the Penguins will not foul here. Ball will come up the floor. They'll milk the final 10 seconds. And Purdue Fort Wayne takes game one in the two-game series this season. These teams will meet again in Fort Wayne on Sunday, January 23rd, and a 2 o'clock start for YS.